Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Pockets from CZT Angie Gittles. This is a fun tangle. Angie has a lot of neat, easy tangles, and they're just so much fun. All right. And today's not Thursday. It is Wednesday, the time of this recording, but I had to shift my Tangle Time session. So we had a lot of fun playing with this, and I'll show you some of what we did later. All right. So this is a grid pattern, and I'm just drawing an outline because I feel, I seem to be liking doing that. So I have a little bit of a border. I think I'm just going to do a 4 square. Yes, I am. Or, let's see. Of course I am. I was like, I could just do big one, but that's like, well, then it'd be like we'll be done in 2 seconds, and just kidding. And I'm thinking, well, which way? Oh, I think I'll do it. I'll do it an opposite way from the samples I have because that would be fun. All right. So this starts off once you have your grid. And just a note on the step outs, which are in the description section. I always do my own version and then have a link to whoever originated the tangle. So this actual one goes to Tangle Patterns because it's on there as well. I think I found it on Pinterest. But on the step outs, it's just focusing on one square so that way you can see that. And so it starts off with a nice curved line, going whatever direction you want. You can treat this like a fragment, and you'll see that in the samples, and you'll see it on especially on the For More Inspiration link, which is to Angie's step out on Tangle Patterns. So in whichever way it curves, so you're going to curve it to one of the corners, and then we're just going to aura that. Like so. Then, and up to you. I found it kind of easy to come from the corner. We're just going to do a nice straight line right up to that first curved line, and then we're going to add some orbs. And I like she had the center one was larger than the other two, so just 3 orbs in whichever order you want to do it. Sometimes I found it easier to do that center one first, and they're filled in. Of course, you can have as much fun with these as you want, and there we go. And then we'll do some shading in a bit. But we'll finish these, and I'm going to have all of these pointing up here into that center. And I am obviously not necessarily worrying about having these all line up. That one I could have kind of gone a little bit slower. Those lines look a little icky. But it's okay. Once we get the shading done, it'll be good. And so what's fun with using this, the fragment concept is just what I'm doing. It's you're taking one thing, one pattern, and just doing it from a different, at a different perspective, just turning it and seeing what meta shapes happen from it. Now, if you happen to have, or interested in more on this, Rick and Maria's book, the Zentangle Primer, Volume 1, and I hope they come up with a Volume 2, because the first one was good. They have 2 books, at least that I'm aware of, the Book of Zentangle, which was the first one, and then the Primer. And in the Primer, they talk about, they introduce the idea of fragments and reticula. And the reticula is essentially the grid, but what they sought out to do was to come up with a name for grids that are not necessarily square or that are not normal. It fits all structures that would then house tangles. That's how I like to word it. And they came up with a number of different patterns, and assigned. Actually, they kind of had to have them in a grid in the book, and so if you happen to see people talking about fragments, and they'll have some letters and numbers designating what those are, and it's from the book. So really, really neat, lots of fun. And there we have it. Now, to shade this, if you have a challenge with where do I start with shading, one good way is where things converge. And I was thinking, oh, I could just fill in that center, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna put graphite. I'm just gonna do it crosswise. I'm not gonna put graphite in that section, or at least along the lines. And I'm putting it kind of on a bit on both sides. I'm going a little bit thick. There we go. So that with the tortillon, and I'm going to kind of spread it to both sides at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I have to come back and go a little bit darker down the center because I want that to be the darkest point. But sometimes just doing this first is helpful. So I just want, like I said, I want to spread this into both sections. So then, as you can see, it creates that really cool curved look. And sometimes I'll come back and do this just to make it a little jagged. I don't like to have that, a harsh line. And then I'm just going to add a little bit here as well, because this is called pockets, right? And so we should emphasize that this is a pocket. I'm just kind of putting just some right in the center here. And then similarly, I'm using a side to side motion versus a circles, because I don't need it to be brought up this way too much. And I only put it in the center because I kind of wanted it to fade out more towards the ends. And and also let me recommend, while I'm thinking about it, something that you can do if depending on what surface you're working on, it's a great idea to test it. So for instance, if I was testing it here, I put a little graphite, just a little line, and then with the with your tortillon, just see how far can you move it, and how does it move? How hard do you have to push to make it more of a gradient versus and kind of erase that line that you see. So it's not a bad idea to practice with it or play with it. It's not really practice. You just want to test it and see. So that way then you don't have graphite remorse. But like I said, super, super neat tangle. I'm just going to add a little, with what's left on my tortillon, we'll do little drop shadows on those because it's fun to do. Like I said, really, it's so simple and it's so gorgeous. So here is some playing around that we did today on the Tangle Time sessions, and this is as you see, I did a 16 grid. I had intended to have it come out a different way, but once I did the first line, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go with it. And this is Tangle walk the line there on the outside, because we're also following Inktober tangles, and this is no, this is actually tomorrow's. But we were playing around with that, and tag or tog, which is today's. I gave everyone the option if they wanted to add those in. Of course they could, because it's fun to do, to pair up some nice tangles. So this was a lot of fun. This is on a gray tile, and then had extra fun with this black tile, and adding some color and for the orbs. And I like how Angie, in her sample, she had just individual boxes just floating around, and I thought, what a great idea. So again, had a lot of fun with this tangle. It's so neat. It's just fun to be able to do something I don't know. Being that the tangle is easy enough, you can have. I don't know. We can always have a lot of fun with it, but I don't know. There's something about when the tangle is easy that it helps the create in my brain anyway. It makes for the creative process to be even more. It's like, oh well, what else can we do? Because I'm not worrying about the tangle as much as, oh, how much extra fun can we have with this? So if you would like to join us and have fun like this, we would love to have you have you join us as well. They're generally on Thursdays. I do 2 sessions. We do the same tangle each session. I have a lot of people that come to both because you get good ideas and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. So information for that is on my website. That link is in the description section underneath, below where the step outs are. And if you happen to be on Facebook, our Tangle Addicts community has a nice private group there and would love to have you join us so you can share your work. And, and it's just, it's extended 24/7 fun whenever you happen to be on. Um, let's see, what else? Well, if you enjoyed this, would love to have you click like. Feel free to share it, leave comments. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. Let's say I mentioned these classes. I do classes about almost twice a week. It just depends on the week. I have, and generally they're Tuesdays and Thursdays, unless I have a schedule issue. And then I do my very best to not cancel, but to reschedule on a different day. So that way we all get our fix. But I do have also just a couple paid classes. Actually, one that I turned it into a Tangle Addicts Club exclusive, which I have a subscription club. So come join us for free. If you like it, join the club. It's a good deal. It's $25 a month, and at the time of this recording anyway, and you get it's all access. And I always record, and you have access to those replays. And all of that. So we'd love to have you join us. We decided that we can't have too many friends that like to tangle. So with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.